Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we take a deep dive into the confusing world of corporate finance. Today we've got a 10K filing from Neuphoria Therapeutics Incorporated. Now, their name sounds pretty hopeful, but we're going to see what the numbers and the fine print really tell us. Stick around because what we're about to uncover might just change how you see this company. Before we dive in, if you are all about cutting through the corporate jargon and getting to the real story, hit that subscribe button, and hey, we've built an awesome community on Discord to keep the conversation going. So join us there to link S in the description. Alright, let's start by getting a feel for Neuphoria. They're a clinical stage biotechnology company, meaning they're still working on developing their main products, and they refocused on brain disorders. Their main drug candidate, BNC210, is being tested for social anxiety disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. They also have a partnership with Merck & Company Incorporated for other brain-related conditions. It is a tough industry, and developing drugs takes a ton of time and money. Right now, Neuphoria, their strategy seems to be pushing BNC210 forward. They had a phase 2 trial for social anxiety disorder called Prevail that missed its main goal, which is always a bit of a bummer. But they did see some positive trends and even got the go-ahead from the FDA to move into phase 3 trials. That is a big step. They were also planning a phase 3 trial for PTSD based on positive results from a phase 2b trial called Attune. It is good they're seeing progress, but it is important to remember that drug development is a really long and uncertain road. Let S get to the numbers because that is where the real story often lies. Looking at their balance sheets as of the 30th of June 2025, Neuphoria had about $14.2 million in cash and cash equivalents. On the flip side, they had an accumulated deficit of a whopping $178.3 million. That means they've spent way more than they've brought in since they started. This is pretty typical for a clinical stage biotech company, but it highlights just how much they rely on external funding. Now, let's look at revenue for the year ending the 30th of June 2025. They reported license revenue of over $15.6 million. This is a big jump compared to zero revenue in the previous year. The main reason for this surge: a $15 million milestone payment from Merck relating to their partnership, which is great news and shows their collaboration is progressing. When we look at their expenses, research and development is a huge chunk of their spending. For the year ending the 30th of June 2025, R&D expenses were just over $9 million. This is a slight decrease from the previous year, mostly due to lower spending on their PTSD program, but they still poured a lot of money into developing BNC210. They spent about 88% of their R&D budget on BNC210 related programs, which makes sense since it is their lead candidate. General and administrative expenses were about $7.7 million for the year ending the 30th of June 2025. This also saw a decrease compared to the prior year, largely thanks to lower insurance costs and some staffing efficiencies. Moving to the US as a public company probably adds to these costs, so it is good they're re-managing them. Putting it all together, Neuphoria reported a net loss of about $370,000 for the year, ending the 30th of June 2025. This might sound small, and it is a massive improvement from a net loss of over $15 million in the prior year. This dramatic reduction in losses is mainly due to that big payout from Merck. Now, cash flow is key for any company, especially one burning through cash on research. For the year ending the 30th of June 2025, they actually had net cash provided by operating activities of about $77,000. That is a huge comeback from using over $14 million in cash from operations the year before. Again, that Merck milestone payment made a big difference here. On the financing side, they provided about $1.5 million in cash from financing activities for the year ending the 30th of June 2025. This is down from over $15 million the prior year, mostly because they raised less equity. They did mention selling about $3.3 million of stock under an AT, the market offering agreement between July and September 2025, which will help boost their cash reserves further. Now, every company faces risks, and for Neuphoria, they're pretty significant. They're a clinical stage company with no approved products. That means they're constantly needing money to fund their research and development. If they can't get more funding, they might have to slow down or even stop their projects. That is a huge risk. They also mentioned the possibility of sales of stock from warrant holders, including from a big investment by Armistice Capital Master Fund Limited, which could lower their stock price. Remember, with biotech, a lot hinges on getting those drugs approved, and that is a long shot for many. Looking at their shareholders' equity, the number of common shares outstanding increased quite a bit from about 1.1 million in 2024 to over 1.9 million in 2024. to over 1.9 million in 2025. This increase is due to those equity issuances we just talked about. Their additional paid in capital jumped up significantly as well, which is where they record the money they V-raised from selling stock. The auditor S report from Wolf & Company PC is clean, meaning they believe the financial statements are presented fairly. That is a good sign. They mentioned they V-served the company since 2024, which is pretty recent. Let's quickly touch on contingent consideration. This is basically money they might have to pay out later based on certain future events. Like if their older Clips acquisition assets do really well. For the year ending the 30th of June 2025, this liability increased by about $600,000, but it decreased significantly the year before. This shows the uncertainty in valuing these future payouts. They also have a warrant liability that fluctuates, which is typical when warrants are involved. So, what is the takeaway here for Neuphoria Therapeutics Incorporated? On one hand, they made significant strides. The Merck milestone payment really helped them out, drastically reducing their net loss for the year and boosting their cash flow from operations. They reactively moving their lead drug candidate BNC210 through crucial phase 3 trials, which is exactly what a clinical stage company should be doing. However, the financial position is still precarious. They have a substantial accumulated deficit, and their future success is heavily dependent on securing more funding, and most importantly, getting their drugs approved and to market, which is a huge hurdle. The company's direction seems clear. Focus on BNC210 and leverage the Merck partnership. The biggest strength is the potential for BNC210 if it proves effective for social anxiety and PTSD, given the unmet medical need. The biggest weakness is, as always with these companies, the immense cash burn rate and the high-risk nature of drug development. There is also the risk of dilution for shareholders with ongoing stock sales. In conclusion, Neuphoria is in a critical phase. They managed to extend their runway thanks to a significant payment, which is a win, but the path ahead is still incredibly challenging and uncertain. Investors in this space need to be comfortable with high risk and long timelines. What do you think about Neuphoria's financial health and their strategy? Does BNC210 have what it takes? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, give this video a like and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. And don't forget, our Discord community is where we really dissect these filings, so come join the discussion. Their link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and we LLC you in the next episode of Corporate Decoder.